raised about BBI. 17 of them is in the path for the BBI before we get to the referendum. Looking at some bit of crime is that the question here, did Gilgil Pastor kill his wife, as the police are holding a 47-year-old man following the mysterious death of his wife, who he said had committed suicide. But now questions are abound asking as to whether was he the one who killed the wife. Moving on to health is that standoff as KEMSA loses a 70 billion Kenya shillings contract with the US, a situation that started just as a minor port clearance dispute over antiretroviral drugs between Kenya and the United States has now turned to a risky situation, putting the fight against malaria, tuberculosis and HIV at risk. And finally, almost finally, all bark and no bite. Ruto's wake-up call to his rivals. The strings of losses to the deputy president that he has suffered in the recent times has exposed his soft underbelly, as critics say. And finally, Museveni eyes 40 years in power as he just got started with his sixth term as the president of Uganda. And of course, just as mentioned by Ray earlier on, he did take a jab at the West, accusing them of imposing their air-conditioned democracy on Africa. We'll be giving you these details as we continue on with In the Headlines. Ray.
Now, let's pick up from there. What is happening across, the region there? Remember, Suluhu Hassan was in Kenya recently, and a deal was struck there to just ease trade relations between Tanzania and Kenya. And it seems that this particular pact is bearing fruit. What are we talking about? We're talking about the new border barriers. So if you have been trading across Namanga into Tanzania and back, then maybe you have noticed an ease in, the barriers that then would have made it difficult for you to trade. So the two presidents apparently agreed on non-tariff barriers at the border points that have been in the past being a headache between Kenya and Tanzania. Now, according to the East African Community Secretary General, and this is Peter Mutuku Mathuki, he says that they have received several complaints from drivers who spend time waiting to be cleared at the border points. So apparently, this is going to be a thing of the past. Why? Because the EAC Secretariat has also established a hotline to register traders' challenges. This is working at making sure that the deal that was struck on paper is actually implemented on ground. As we say here, vitu kwa ground sometimes are usually different. So here, this is just a step in that direction. And now, yesterday we witnessed what was happening in the Senate. That is the impeachment trial of Wajir Governor, that is Mohamud Abdi there. And now with the committee linking the family to some of the lost monies there. We're talking about millions of shillings in misappropriation. And his family has been linked to that, his wife and children. So also the House, that is the National Assembly, today is going to vet the CJ nominee, Martha Koome. Remember, for the last 2 weeks back, we have been watching the JSC conduct these interviews. And there were some of them became household names. But now Martha Koome was the choice that the JSC committee, Lady Justice Martha Koome, was the choice made by the JSC. So in a letter dated April 28th, President Uhuru Kenyatta asked the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi to fast-track the vetting. Remember, the law abhors a vacuum, and attached to the documents, including the original copy of the JSC report on the selection process of the CJ and Justice Koome's curriculum vitae. Now, on a lighter note, people from my community... No, people from my community have been bashed this weekend, or rather this week long. And just to remind you that Martha Koome comes from that community, we have people who have gone to Harvard and ourselves are here. Remember, we also told you that the school I went to was among the top, high school performers. Yeah, what will happen? The schools they attended were nowhere to be seen. Just want to remind you that Lady Justice Martha Koome for the position of the Chief Justice is going to be vetted by the National Assembly there. So we wish her all the best, and I think we need more women taking up leadership roles to change the way things are done in the country, at least where governance is concerned. Now, talking about leadership, Museveni at it, 6th term in office. And some of the presidents who graced this occasion include Samia Suluhu Hassan of Tanzania, Salva Kiir of South Sudan, Saleh Wak Zedwe of Ethiopia, Evariste of Burundi, as well as many other dignitaries who came in. Now, conspicuously missing was the President Paul Kagame of Rwanda. President Uhuru Kenyatta and Somalia's Mohamed Farmajo came to face amid a diplomatic row between the two countries. You know where we stand when it comes to matters of Somalia and Kenya. Other than just the issue of the maritime border dispute, we also have an issue. We brokered a deal, but now it seems that one of the governments asked or them is not ready to honor that particular deal. We'll be keeping tabs on that as we look at the hot and cold. We are blowing hot and cold when it comes to the northern country there. So Museveni was sworn in for the 6th term. And I'd want to draw your attention, Jane, Doreen, and Victor, to the famous interview held by CNN's
Christiana Amanpour.
Yes, with none other than the late Bob, that is Robert Mugabe. And I remember this interview made headlines. Why? Because he was put to task and asked then when he will be bidding farewell to Zimbabweans, or rather stepping down, you know. And the question that Bob asked, and I'm trying to paraphrase because I don't remember the details, but it went like, where are Zimbabweans going? And why are you asking me this question and you've never asked the Queen? He was talking about his term of leadership there as the president of Zimbabwe. We miss Uncle Bob. May his soul continue resting in peace. Victor.
All right. Excuse me. And on that note, let's take a look at what's making headlines on the Star newspaper. And the governor's wife, children linked to Wajir graft probe. All right, that's the web of the Star. Governor's wife, children linked to Wajir's graft web. And that has been tackled there by my colleagues. And the governor has been accused of including his wife and children in the graft, totaling to hundreds and hundreds of millions of shillings that the MCs accused were misappropriated in that county. And so alleged to have been influencing tenders, receiving kickbacks. That story continues in the Star. And GSU COVID test ordered to after GSU boss Singoi found dead in Embakasi hostel. The GSU, it's now said that he was found dead in his hostel, and the COVID test has been ordered for any person who might have come in contact with him days before he died. He was found dead in the morning on Wednesday, and now the COVID test has been ordered for everyone who came in contact with former GSU Deputy Commandant William Singoi, who was found dead in his room. Now, the body was found on Wednesday morning in his room in Embakasi Garrison Barracks. Now, all security and health officials were wearing personal protective equipment, and the Embakasi facility was nervous about the whole process. Now, the cause of his death was not immediately known or apparent, and a postmortem will be performed. Now, to some story that will affect many, many Kenyans. And when I say many, I mean many. Kenyatta National Hospital to now stop walk-in patient services from July. Yeah, Kenyatta National Hospital, many people, mostly Nairobians or even far away from Nairobi, always go to KNH. But now, it has been revealed that Kenyatta National Hospital will, from July this year, start attending to referral cases only as it seeks to close doors to walk-in patients. Now, NMS, Director General Mohamed Badi on Wednesday said that his team, together with the Ministry of Health, have reviewed the referral system. Now, this means that all level 3, 4 and 5 hospitals within Nairobi will cater for walk-in patients. Badi said that in partnership with the acting governor, that is Anne Kananu, all efforts will be made to ensure that the 24 hospitals pledged by President Uhuru Kenyatta will be fully operational. So take note that starting July, there will be no more walk-in patients at the Kenyatta National Hospital. And these are questions that I will pose to you, ladies, as we move on. And then, because we all know, KNH has served many people. How it's going to work out for the 24 hospitals in the city is just a matter of wait and see. And now, on 30th of April, CS Matiang'i announced that there will be no more romantic relationships in the forces. And should that happen, then one person would be forced to leave the force. And now Angel Falls Matiang'i's plan to ban romantic relationships in police force. Now, a lobby group has said that it is wrong to prevent two people in love from having intimacy on grounds that they work in the same place. Angaza Network Empowerment on Wednesday faulted Interior CS Fred Matiang'i's plan to ban relationships among police officers to curb cases of domestic violence and killings within the forces. Now, Matiang'i on April said that it is wrong. So, ukipatikana, one of you will go. And so far, a team has already been formed to come up with the rules. I don't know. We talked about this, Jane, Ray, Doreen, and now it was just a matter of time before someone came up with this, with an uproar. What do you think? I have been in some institutions before where couples are working together. In fact, they were sitting side by side, and life continued. And for 5 years. Yeah.
I am anti-workplace relationships.
Please, I'm with you on that. High five, girl.
Why?
Yeah.
It just...
So we work at home, then we work in the office.
Pleasure.
Peace.
Okay, okay. But why don't you just separate, your, relationships, your domestic issues and your professional kind of
It is
lifestyle?
always easier said than done. And this boils back down to you as an individual. Like, what are your hard limits, your boundaries, your do's and don'ts? And personally,
yes,
work relationships,
it's a no-no. It's a no-no. So already there's an age you're saying that it is wrong. I mean, you cannot stop two people to fall in love, and should that happen, they don't know how that will pan out.
But then again,
yes.
Just looking at why this was put in place was not just, they did not just wake up and decide, by the way, we do not want any more romantic relationships within the force, within the service rather.
Yeah.
This was based on issues to do around sexual violence, gender-based violence that they have been reported over the years. And in most cases, it has been people who are romantically involved, but one is senior to the other.
Okay.
That was one of the reasons that was put forth.
Yeah, exactly.
And legally speaking, it holds water why they decided to go this way. From where I stand, I think legally speaking, they are covering all their, putting their defenses up.
Yes.
To just make sure that we said this and that is how it's going to be moving forward, because as a result of this and this and this, we need to do this for the greater good.
All right. Okay. Can we take a break right now? We'll be right back with more after this break.
Absolutely.
All right.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Did you know that your house is one of your most valued investments? Get your domestic package insurance cover. This includes house and its contents, domestic servants, owners and tenants' legal liability. Now you know. IRA, promoting insurance, protecting the insured. Next on.
Did you go to this house? Are we clear?
Yeah, we are clear.
What exactly happened in Kilindini?
Did you have me followed?
But you of all people should know that I have eyes and ears everywhere.
What?
Hey, David.
She's here.
Hey. I really don't want any kind of family drama right now, okay?
Then can I at least explain?
Sasa hiyo kishoko ndio baya sasa.
Dave doesn't want to talk to you, just admit it.
You admire my life.
I'm not my father.
Ouch.
Sorry.
Ampiga simu.
Nani?
FM ilayska umada.
Welcome back to the program. This is still Good Morning Kenya, and we are continuing to unpack for you how the different dailies are looking like this Thursday. And on the PD, the main story right here this morning is just on matters to do with health, and this is in regards to COVID-19, where the world could have averted COVID report. This is actually a statement from the Liberian president, that is Ellen Johnson, just continuing to say that we have identified failures at every stage, and we do believe that it could have been possible to prevent this pandemic. So in which ways do they feel like perhaps it could have been possible to prevent this pandemic, and most especially in the African context? And even as we talk about that right now as a country, 15 more persons test positive for the Indian variant, bringing the number to a total of 20 persons after 5 had tested positive for the same variant in Kisumu. And this is after it was reported by the CAS, that is Rashid Aman. But also part of what the Ministry of Health is saying is that there's nothing per se to worry about, in as much as right now the number is at 20 for those that have tested positive for the Indian variant. And even let's talk about matters health when it comes to BBI. Now the vote on BBI exposes Ruto's soft underbelly, where after claims that majority MPs pay allegiance to the DP, the outcome in Parliament, where his allies seemed to abandon him, has rekindled impeachment questions. Yes, even as we talked about the three of the 4 senators who perhaps are set to undergo the same fate as what has happened to the Jubilee-nominated senator, that is Isaac Mwaura, who actually as of now looks like his fate is sealed. This is after Leshore has been proposed to replace him on that particular position, and this is even after
after the High Court had barred the IEBC from continuing this particular process. But even at that, looks like actually his fate has been sealed on that post. And now we have been seeing the different works that the Nairobi Metropolitan Services has been doing as it pertains to road reconstructions, ensuring that garbage is collected in different areas, especially here across the city. But in addition to that, they're also doing something new, and this is in regards to the new blood storage center, which is set to be unveiled. This is at Mama Lucy Hospital. What they're saying is that plans are still underway, and this is at least to assist a good number of Kenyans there. So as they continue to give more details as it pertains to that, we'll be giving you more details again as it pertains to the same. And now as they continue to just experience the rains, it looks like now it is really causing a lot of havoc in different parts across the country, and most especially in areas around Migori and Homa Bay, where thousands of bridges have collapsed, which even has resulted to a lot of students and a lot of people in that area. And again, just coming back to students having not to go to school, resulting to businesses and structures being destroyed in different parts of the country, but key areas, especially in areas around Migori and Homa Bay. So what exactly is the government perhaps doing, or even specific, the county governments? That's all of that we'll be just finding out in a few, what different county governments are doing, at least to ensure that they help protect their persons in different areas, regardless of the fact that the rains are causing havocs in different areas across the country. Womboy.
Now we get to those details that we had promised you earlier on in regards to what the front pages have for us this morning. And let me see, which one do we start with? Let's start with this one concerning the education sector, over the question of 194,000 learners who did not sit for their KCSE exams. And this is the difference that was noted looking at the number of candidates that sat for the KCPE exams in 2016 versus those who sat for the KCSE exams in 2020. And mind you, this class of 2020 were the pioneer group for the 100% transition from primary to secondary school. Now, this situation, however, has not been addressed by the CS. So far, he hasn't explained as to the whereabouts of this 194,000 candidates. But just getting to the details is that NEC is actually the one who put out these figures. There were reported 752,602 candidates who registered for KCSE exams 2020. Out of that, compared to what was registered back in 2016, those that did the KCPE. This is the same group, mind you. The ones that did KCPE in 2016 were 942,021 candidates, but those who sat for KCSE were 752,602. Additionally, there's another 5,441 among this lot that did register for KCSE but did not do the exams. And this particular lot has been put into a different category because some of the reasons that have been considered as to why this particular 5,000 did not sit for the exams revolving around the consequences of the COVID-19 pandemic. But just getting to more explanation that has been given in regards to, and this is what NEC had to say. The CS is yet to give his stand on this. According to NEC, some of the possible explanation about these 194,000 candidates that did not sit for their exams, they have looked at issues to do with early pregnancies, early marriages, drug and substance abuse, lack of school fees, and juvenile delinquency. Now, according to this report that they also put out, they did say that there are certain counties that did report higher rates of dropouts, and these are counties more so in the eastern regions of Kenya and the coastal regions as well. And just examples that have been given here, there is Kwale, there's Kilifi, there's Tana River and Marsabit that have the highest number of dropouts. In Kwale, those that sat for their KCPE exams were 15,177 in 2016. However, those who did KCSE exams were only 8,109. That is a difference of 7,000 that did not sit for their KCSE exams, and yet they did do the KCPE exams. Going to Kilifi, those that sat for their KCPE exams in 2016, 30,2 225. Those that did their KCSE are 15,832. A difference of 14,393 did not sit for the exams and cannot be accounted for. In Tana River, 4,111 sat for their KCPE exams, but only 1,752 sat for their KCSE. That is about 57% that missed the KCSE exams. And in Marsabit, there is 3,980 candidates who did the KCPE, but only 2,033 sat for their KCSE. And looking at these particular regions in the coastal and northeastern parts of Kenya, early pregnancies and early marriages have contributed to the biggest reasons as to why these particular groups of children did not manage to sit for their exams. But they also indicate that there are some counties that did record a higher number of candidates that sat for the KCSE as opposed to those who did their KCPE in those particular counties, and these are Murang'a and Tharaka Nithi. So you can read more of that there, get to understand the question that is now being raised around the whereabouts of these young children. And mind you, this goes contrary to the 100% policy transition that was put in place with this first particular group, who were the pioneer of the 100% transition from primary to secondary education. Ray.
Well, now, talking about education, I wanted to go to a story that made the headlines, especially started off on social media with a video actually going viral. What am I talking about? I'm talking about it is back to school this week and probably next week. But now there's someone who decided to take advantage of a few students who are going to school, gave them a lift. One was dropped off and he proceeded with another. And this lady, a 17-year-old schoolgirl, dramatically escaped from a man whom she claimed had raped her. I'm sure you have seen that video. It made its way on social media as well as mainstream media. We also covered it, so you can get the details on our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. Now, she narrated the ordeal to people who came to rescue her. What happened? So just like a scene of the movies where you see the actress or the actor going for the wheel to try and divert or rather take control of the vehicle. So this particular vehicle where she was riding with a man, 34-year-old man from Kabuko, who dropped off one of the girls at around St. Paul's University but proceeded with the other towards Limuru. The suspect, according to the police, changed course and drove towards an area with a large tea plantation where he said to have raped the minor. Now, the victim told the police that the man threatened to kill her if she resisted. So this lady, instead of just keeping quiet and keeping mum while the drive was still ongoing, she tried to commandeer the vehicle, or rather take charge of the vehicle by going for the steering. The car lost control and landed into a tea plantation. And there were workers there, and she raised the alarm. And when she told the people who were around there what had exactly happened, the mob descended on this particular man, and he was only saved by the police there. Now, the man has been taken to court, where Chief Magistrate Evelyn Olwade ordered that he be taken to hospital and later be remanded at the Tigoni police station. If you have seen the clip, there were blows there, kicks to the head, and such mob justice there, with many Kenyans coming out to really react to this particular story, especially on social media platforms. Someone saying that he shouldn't have been left, to leave because, the issue of justice taking too long for this girl. This borrows the question, and I want to bring this question to the studio here as well as our viewer back at home. What do we tell our children when it comes to being independent? I know while I was growing up, among the things that my folks, especially my mom, insisted on was never get into a car with a stranger. Never go for a date without money enough to get you back home. Never order for a meal you cannot afford to buy. What are we teaching our children when it comes to just taking care of themselves out there? And mark you, I'm not saying the lady is responsible for what happened to her. I'm just saying life skills. What are we teaching our children about life skills? Actually, I find this 17-year-old to be very brave to have actually raised the alarm before it was too late. Imagine if this person continued driving with her. He might have actually, killed her as he had threatened to. Doreen, what's your take in regard to what we are sharing as far as life skills are concerned, where our children are concerned?
Yeah, it's just the same issues that you're raising, because also for me, while I was growing up, those are the same values that were instilled in me. Never go to a date. Never go to a date unless you can pay for what you will order for there. Never go anywhere unless you actually have something that you can pay by yourself. You can do it by yourself. It doesn't negate the fact that someone can be able to do it for you, but just make sure that you can be able to do it by yourself. And again, that issue of even taking leaves, I mean, even up till now, it still happens. Even to some older, if I can mention like older women per se, someone just passes you across and they really want to give you a lift. So again, it just goes back to those values and life skills that were instilled for you, that were instilled in you rather when you were growing up. And I think that is where the basic starts from, because also for this girl to perhaps raise an alarm as early as that, I want to imagine and assume that maybe she just felt like, wait, maybe from perhaps what I've been taught, what I've been told, I should actually do something. Because I want to imagine if she had not been instilled inside some of these values, she would have just gone like, okay, let's just go. But again, it reminds you, when you get to that difficult point and that difficult time, what exactly you need to do as a person. So it just goes back to what exactly children are being taught, whether it's by parents, by those in society and community, or even by teachers. And also, again, what you're being taught, are you taking it in? Because it's one thing to be taught, it's a different story altogether to actually take it in and apply it in scenarios and cases where it needs to be applicable.
Victor, what lessons or other values were instilled? And as boy child, we've been talking so much about empowering the girl child, but now what values were shared unto you by your parents that have helped you navigate some of these issues, especially this time when we're talking about teenagers and back to school and such?
Let's start talking about what the lady did. The lady was acting on self-defense. Nobody would want to face any rape, whether man or woman, girl or boy. Nobody would want to go through that ordeal. So by all means, the lady acted to save her life and to act in a manner, to act on a self-defense, okay? So whatever happened, that was that. She raised alarm and people came for her help, to her help. Now the problem is the people who started having a mob justice on him, all right? Whichever way you look at it, people might say that, it was okay, or it was not okay until police arrived. But to see at such kind of point, there are always two situations. One, whenever there's a mob justice, police will always tell you, stop killing, stop beating up that person, because if that person dies, it will be another story. And if that person is taken to a police cell and he dies there, it will be under the police custody. So police officers will have a question to answer. So two things, mob justice will never end. But in other terms, we always advocate, and people are always being told that never have, some kind of, cases in your own hand. But let me go back to your question. The issue of taking care of yourself can be talked as much as possible, and as far as we know, you've put it correctly. I don't know why it's about ladies that never go to a date or for a date without any money that can take you back home. That applies to us as well, okay? Just try and cut your coat according to your size. You get it? And make sure that even you, as a man, you know that lady before you go for a date, because some great and bad things also happen to men. I don't know whether you know that.
Yeah, there's an assumption that you guys are made of steel.
No.
Nothing happens to you that you do not allow.
No. You've had situations where unasikia umeweka mchele. You get it? Those are situations of, first time meetings, and you just get confused along the way, and shenanigans, and things happen. So it's about both ways. Take care of yourself and just be cautious. Something called situational awareness. Yeah. Situational awareness is very important. Read, have even 15 cents, if you can, around you before you make any decision. Yeah.
Just to add to what, Victor, you're saying about, men also not always being the perps, that is something we also need to normalize. Just to add on to what you have said, and not defending this perpetrator in this particular case. But one thing that I have grown up knowing is whenever you are somewhere that you are not with someone that you know and trust, always know where the exit is.
Yeah.
Always know where the exit is.
And know when to leave. Okay?
Know where the exit is. No kakismoken.
Yeah.
Kakinuka. Wewe na exit.
I have an obsession. Whenever I get into a restaurant or a joint, I always have to sit where I can see the exit. I need to see who is coming in, and I need to see my way out. I don't know if just that's being overly cautious, suspicious, anxious. It's just that I have to have my back to the wall, so no one is going to come at me from behind.
Life skills.
I can see who is coming and leaving, and I can leave with minimal obstructions to the exit.
Movie tumewatch tukigrow up zimetufundisha kuishi.
Yeah, and someone would say it's paranoia, but it's just being careful. You are watching
suspicious minds.
Yes.
Suspicious minds. Now, the issue of BBI, and there's a question I'd want to pose to our viewers this morning. Now, according to Lineal Core Jairus of Kakamega, he says that the ball now is on our court. Let's read the BBI bill. So it has passed by the National Assembly and even the Senate. And he goes on to say that in the next line, now it is us, Kenyan voters. The citizens will have a vote in this as an amendment by a popular initiative. Perhaps I should ask my fellow Kenyans, and I'm paraphrasing what he's saying, have you read the BBI document? Have you? If you haven't, please ensure you go through it so that we can all make informed decisions. We should vote wisely, for our lives depend on it. Those are words shared on one of the dailies by the contributor here, Liankor Jairus of Kakamega, challenging you and I, if you've not gotten familiar with this particular document, you need to get familiar, because our lives, and those are children and their children too, depend on how this report, or rather this decision, flows.
I actually think that is a good move by a Kenyan to say that, because you'd hear a lot of Kenyans saying, just to say what Godamba would say, Baba ametusomea. Or person X and X ametusomea. So what else do we need to read? And again, that goes back to that aspect of information, because when you are informed, then you can be able to make better decisions. Just do away with that thought of Isha Peter from this stage to this stage. This person has already read it for us. I mean, if it has passed all these stages, then why do I need as a Kenyan to read? Then again, some years down the line, you begin asking questions of why do we need to perhaps pay for such? Why do we need to do A, B, C, and D? And you didn't understand why what you are passing. So again, it's very important to actually read, have some information a bit about what you will be voting for.
All right. Okay. All right. Briefly on the Star, let me just give you what's happening. Multi-billion shillings election kits tender dilemma for IBC. It seems that IBC is between a rock and a hard place. The electoral agency is now stuck between a rock and a hard place now, as it seeks to have a new supplier for technology to manage the expected BBI referendum and 2022 general election. Now get this, the Commission intends to buy 10,000 voter identification tablets to upgrade an aging database. We all know what happened. All right, the deadline for the tenders is June 4th, according to the recent notice. Now, according to Afula Chebukati, IBC-led team wants a supplier to test, commission, support, and maintain the Kenya Integrated Electoral Management System software. Now, the server hosting the biometric voter registration system acquired in 2012 cannot accommodate more voters and needs an upgrade. The Commission said that the server has been breaking down because an old software. Now, the current voter register contains approximately 19.7 million voters, and the automatic fingerprint identification fingerprint software system may not cope with additional voter registration until the capacity is expanded. So the notice is out there. If you are able, Jen, Doreen, or Ray, if you are able to supply, we have it. We all know what happened to the Otimofo in 2017, the server thing. And I think the IBC is just being cautious on this one. They don't want to go that direction. Okay, something that is affecting most Kenyans, all right? Owners of old, quote unquote, owners of old vehicles targeted in NTSA inspection. Now, the NTSA said that they have started inspecting vehicles that are more than 4 years old in a move to that spells trouble for motorists. Now, the years are calculated from the date of manufacture. So if your car is a 1995, 96, 2000, you fall under that category, or even 2011, 2012, thereabout. This means that the National Transport and Safety Authority will inspect almost all vehicles on the roads in Kenya, with a total of more than 3.2 million vehicles on Kenyan roads. So be ready. Don't be the kind of person who the last minute dash to have your vehicle inspected. And something that's also affecting us briefly, the Meteorological Department says that the risk of flooding, mudslides and landslides remain high in the Rift Valley and some parts of central Kenya, according to the Met Department. And a few places, mainly in western Kenya and the Rift Valley, will continue to receive the rains, even as the rains are expected to reduce over the weekend. The rest of the country will remain mostly cloudy with occasional light showers. Today, I've just become a weatherman. Was that good, Jen? I did it, yes. One gentleman called Ngwata Francis. Hello, sir. Should just give me,
some internship.
True that.
But now we have the Irene Muchuma who does the weather report, as well as Marie Yambu and Yusuf Farah and Tilio here doing it. And just this reminds me that our brothers and sisters, the Muslim brothers and sisters, we wish you a happy Eid Mubarak.
Yeah.
You have fasted. You have seen this through. I want to say, as you celebrate this occasion, well, we are with you, and thank you very much on a lighter note for giving us a holiday. There are some who have sighted the moon from yesterday, I think. So
last night, yeah.
Asanteni sana, mzidi kubarikiwa. We are in this together. Yeah. As we say, man did not make themselves. There is a higher being. Man did not create himself. There is always a higher being. So whether you're Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, pagan, at least you need to acknowledge that man is did not just come to be. That's what I want to believe. So our Muslim brothers and sisters, happy Eid, and thank you very much for our holiday. We will be celebrating with you, though we did not fast. But we'll be there. We'll be there. And on a lighter note, we will be back to just look at those stories that have been trending over the last 1 week, including
Arsenal winning. I was waiting for that. Yes, including.
Oh, my eye is twitching there, but
that was not supposed to be included.
Including.
I
was waiting for your tongue to drop.
Victor, you term Arsenal's win as a trending topic?
Yes, 1-0, kaput.
We will be back with more of this. Stay with us. The Morning Kenya does continue.
Including. Okay, what was included, Jen?
We will be getting to that in a bit, but first we changamka kidogo. We have interviews coming up, and of course our trending topics.
umeomoka. Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBay ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBay ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
We sum up DFB Pokal semi-finals as having been dramatic. The duo of courageous RB Leipzig and ruthless Borussia Dortmund, oozing class on the ball, have booked their tickets in the DFB Pokal final. All guns blazing.
We're in big trouble here. Torgan Hazard will win the foot race. It's Hazard!
Looking ahead, who will weather the attendant football storm and keep alive their dreams of winning this year's DFB Cup? Indeed, a trophy will be the icing on the cake. On Thursday, 13th of May 2021 at 9:45 p.m, KBC Channel 1 will be in attendance at Berlin's Olympia Stadium to bring you this duel, live and exclusive until the last moment. On KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
I didn't write that. Really? You got it wrong. I am not your father.
After you rip your shirt off, do you actually do this? Or do you do something like this?
It's me. Monster!
Hello?
Honey, don't be mad at me. I was wrong. I was too mean and wicked refusing your baby. I thought it through. Since you're his daddy and I'm with you, I'll try my best to be a good stepmother, okay?
Well, hold on.
Next on.
Hataki kujua. Usikie mfanye Charo, lete. Mara nifanzie. Embo. Kwani wewe ni gunia viazi? Hapana mama. Ya urembo? Nikikutumbo nakimbiaga hivyo dakika. I'm hungry.
Are you stop whining here?
Mama umenita. Unasikia mtoto analia hapa anataka matunda, unafanya nini huko jikoni? Leo utalala kwa bathroom. Ulikuwa atakafua nguo za nje, atafua za ndani, kitanda atatandika, atafanya kila kazi zoa.
Wewe kitanda changu mimi nitadikiwa nafanya kazi.
Next on.
Habibi salamullah alayka.
Tuzungumzie funga ya 6 Shawwal na manufaa ambayo mtu anaweza kuyapata anapofunga funga hii.
Funge siku 6 katika mwezi wa Shawwal na tufanye ibada mbalimbali ile ataqarrubu ila Allah, kujikurubisha kwa Allah azza wa jalla katika huu mwezi wa Shawwal. Wabillahi tawfiqi.
li shajanun bi atfalin sigarin akadu idha dhakartuhum adhubu.
Right, so before we begin with Entertainment Thursday, again, another quick look on what is happening on our roads in terms of traffic. We are still focusing on what is happening around Bunyala Road, as well as just try to look a bit on what will be happening around the Haile Selassie Avenue roundabout. And this is simply because of that closure, especially on this, in between these two particular roundabouts, just on that, on both lanes, rather, that, again, just to necessitate that construction of the expressway. It is just still the same situation. This is how it was earlier on. Heavy kind of traffic throughout this entire roundabout, not moving at all, just at a standstill. And this is why we are seeing that maroon color, which is a clear indicator of that. Where you're seeing the red again, it just simply means that there's still heavy kind of traffic moving at a very, very slow pace. Like I mentioned earlier, this situation has been ongoing for a while. The closure of some specific parts in between, especially along Mombasa Road, going all the way through Waiyaki Way. And this is just for that purpose of that expressway, which is being constructed on this particular route. This is how it was in terms of traffic, not moving at all, at a standstill. So again, again, it just simply means that vehicles that are coming from Mombasa Road past just the Nyayo Stadium, this is where they get to divert to, again, as you head to enjoy to the other side of Mombasa Road. So this is one of those alternative routes that had been given. But however, in as much as, yes, it is one of those alternative routes there, remember that those particular routes are still being used by vehicles coming from different other sides, especially those coming from the areas around Enterprise, still areas around Lusaka as you come to the city center. So in as much as, yes, it might be an alternative route, it's not those good of an alternative route there, because just simply because of those reasons that I'm just giving, still vehicles coming from different parts, different estates, rather different areas, still using the same route as you come to the city center. So the situation along Mombasa Road has just been this way for some time. This is expected to continue for a while, at least until they be able to open up some sections which have been closed, or at least until the expressway comes to an area, a place where they'll be able to open some parts of this specific route. In terms of gridlock, this is how it has been. This is still how it is. So again, it just means that people coming from those areas have to bear with this kind of traffic. And not forgetting that it is the morning hour, so definitely also a lot of activities as you head over to the city center, which is again one of the reasons as to why we would see this kind of heavy traffic. But also along this specific route, this is only being witnessed on that lane that is coming to the CBD, where there's that heavy kind of gridlock at a standstill on some sections, on some others moving at a very slow pace. But again, it's just because of those reasons that I've given. On those others, and on the other lane, however, as you leave areas around Haile Selassie University Way, Kenyatta Avenue, CBD, as you head over to Mombasa Road, on that section there, just before you get to the Bunyala roundabout, in as much as there's a bit of a traffic, but at least altogether a manageable kind of traffic, and this is why we are seeing that orange color there. So just where there's really heavy kind of gridlock is as you leave Mombasa Road, coming to the CBD via the Bunyala roundabout there. On that section, still again, as you leave the roundabout, still heading over to this other side on that section, past the roundabout, at least on that area, green all through, meaning that there's no traffic on that area. So just where there's really kind of heavy traffic is in between these two roundabouts. That is in between the Bunyala as well as the Nyayo Stadium roundabout. And the sad part is that this is actually on both lanes. So on this specific one, when I'm talking about both lanes, it just simply means as you leave Bunyala roundabout, coming to Mombasa Road via the Nyayo Stadium roundabout, and again as you leave the Nyayo Stadium roundabout all the way from Mombasa Road, coming through the same lane as you head over to the city center. So that's just where there's really heavy kind of traffic at a standstill, not moving at all. But like I mentioned, this is actually expected to continue for a while, and because of those reasons which I just gave in regards to that expressway. So ultimately it just means that this remains one of those key focus roads that we'll continue to keep an eye on, at least until we see the progress of this expressway, just for the easy movement of those coming from areas around Mombasa Road.
All right, thank you, Dee, for that. We're always here to just make sure that you know what is going on your roads before you get to leave your house. Hey, that came out nicely. Hey. Anyway, thank you for still staying with us. This remains to be Good Morning Kenya. Hashtag pale Twitter bado ni Good Morning Kenya. At Dorina Range, at Ray Manyara, at Victor Olo, and at Jadon Boy is how you can always interact with us. And of course, our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. We get started with the first conversation, and as we had already mentioned, it is Entertainment Thursday, and every Thursday, or rather most Thursdays, we get to have with us artists in studio to just understand their journey and get to hear from them and how things have been doing, especially in light of COVID-19. And this morning it is no different. Tuko na msanii mmoja hapa ndani ya studio, gospel artist ambaye anajiita Harinesta. Nimesema vizuri?
Nimesema poa sana.
Kabisa? Nisiongeze madoido, nisichome hapo. Good morning, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Nashukuru sana you made time to be with us.
Nashukuru sana.
Unaweza salimia mafans na utupatie social media handles.
Ni ajeni wase, itwa Harinesta, I'm born again. IG Harinesta _254. Then Facebook Harinesta _254. Then YouTube Harinesta TV. Social handles.
Awesome. So check him out, get to support his music, and we're going to be playing his music as well tukiendelea na hii interview. So Harinesta, let's just go back to ile safari ilianzia wapi. And first of all, was gospel choice yako ama ni venye tu uliona gospel ndio Kenya inaweza resonate na watu around me, familia? Nini ilifanya uchague gospel kama your genre?
Mi ni church boy kwa sababu nimelelewa church sana. But also nikiwa high school nilikuwa na think about kufanya secular. Hata kama nilikuanga CU but
watu wa CU.
Yeah, so nilikuwa na think kufanya secular but ilifika tu mahali nikafeel I think time yenye niko hii world yani yenye niko hii dunia nifanye something yenye hata dunia ikisha saa hii God akisimama naweza sema Mungu usinihurumie tu, ni at least nilifanya something. So I think the more nilikuwa CU akanipatia leader. Unajua ukiwa kwa kitu kuna venye unaanzanga kulan kuingia ndani kabisa, kulan more, kutamani Mungu, kusoma revelation, kuna venye inakutisha
unarudi laini
unamwatu wa churran. So after nimetoka shule nikaamua like nifanye tu Mungu kazi. Yani nifanye tu Mungu kazi. Nikafika mahali hata kuandika secular. Yani nikakosa ideas za secular. Anytime naingia kwa kuandika ama na think niko kwa gari hata nisikie secular song, hiyo secular song kitu nasikia ni kama huyo mtu angeimbia gospel ingeweza sana. So nikaamua nifanye tu gospel.
And how long ago was this ukiamua kuventure into gospel fully ukiwa committed?
I started 2016. Nisemeka 2015 ndio nilikuwa niingie music. Basi kutaka tu kuingia gospel tu kuingia. Kwa sababu nilikaa nikasema sitaki tu kufanya gospel kwa sababu maybe nifanye tu kwa sababu naweza fanya gospel. So nikaamua like nijipatie time 2015 ni learn more, nijue word pia. Then kufika 2016 November ndio nika release my first song.
Now, before tatuanze kuangalia nyimbo ambazo umerelease, let's just go back to your time ambao ulikuwa umeamua sasa you're committed to starting gospel music. Support around you ilikuwa vipi? You know, just looking at familia, your friends who know that you unataka kufanya muziki na sana sana gospel.
Ukianza inakuanga hard sana kwa sababu unajua even parents, unajua parents that time wanakuanga like umesoma, umepata hii marks poa,
na unataka kufanya
music, unajua music I think inakuanga na some sijui but ilikuwa so hard but nilikuwa nimeamua nikasema with or without support I think nafanya tu music na mostly nilikuwa nafanya gospel, so nikasema nataka kufanya evangelist pia. Yeah, so
ulikuwa that committed.
Ukifanya gospel mazuri kwa evangelist kwa sababu una reach, wewe ni kama preacher, but una preach with different way. So venye nilianza ilikuwa hard but walikuja ku accept kwa sababu since nikiwa mtoi wameona nikiimba nikipiga mavibuyu nje watu wanakuja, kaanza kupewa those celebs name Willow, Diplo like nikiwa young. So walifika tu mahali wakafeel hii nayo talent ni yake, hii passion yake, so waka accept,
kakubali. Na ulikuwa unaimba ama una rap ama spoken word? Ulianza na what type of music? Worship? What was it and ulianza nayo?
Nilianza na kurap sing, na kurap sing tu, but ikafika mahali nikafeel kurap sing I reach so many. Kuna some parents who understand raps, who understand.
Mshindo hizi ni nini unaimba hapa? Unasema ni gospel.
Wako serious kabisa wanachapa wanasema sasa hatumuelewi. But venye nilikuwa na move niliendelea sasa kurudi like kusing tu, kuput my words zenye sing, rap sing, yani ile ya sing kabisa yenye anybody anaweza understand, but nikafanya in modern form na my own style pia.
Na ukiwa mtoi ulikuwa unataka kuwa msanii ama ulikuwa na ndoto zingine kama watu wengine? Najua unataka kuwa hii, unataka kuwa hii, unataka kuwa hii. Usanii was anywhere in the picture?
Mi usanii I think ilikuwa in sana, but nilikuwa nilikuwa nataka kuwa film director.
So bado in the creative industry.
So mostly nilikuwa create huko sana. But sasa venye nilisonga kidogo kufika hapo class 5, 6 hapo nikaanza kutamani music, na kuna vitu mingi sana zime come through zenye nilikuwa na dream to that time.
Na zika come through.
So ninafurahia sana.
Now sasa let's get back to your space ambao ulitoa nyimbo yako ya kwanza. Hebu kwanza niambie, was it a hit or a miss?
Ilikuwa miss kwa sababu
being very honest with yourself, was it a hit or a miss?
Ilikuwa miss kwa sababu hiyo time najua ukianza na music unaanza kuimagine like nimefanya na producer mkubwa, director mkubwa, so hii ngoma lazima itahit, alafu unaanza kuimagine sasa hizi pesa zikikaa, unajua. But haikuja hivyo. After nime-release nikajua kumbe music ni journey. Unajua. After time una feeling una feel down, unaona like ni waste pesa pia. But passion najua lazima urana.
Kept you going. Ilikuwa inaitwa hiyo ngoma ya kwanza?
Okay, nilifanya ngoma ya kwanza ilikuwa inaitwa Mungu Yupo. Then nika switch nikakuja after Mungu Yupo nikafanya Tunasonga na Danny Gift. But yenye nilikuwa na more hopes ilikuwa Danny Gift kwa sababu that time Danny Gift alikuwa amefanya alikuwa kazi ya msalaba na Radio One, so nilikuwa like hii nayo lazima iende. Na
director wangu ananiambia hiko, so we'll definitely play it tuone na to compare na hii latest tuone the journey.
So that time nilifeel after nime-release nilikuwa basi nime-release ngoma na Gift lazima iende, nikapata hapana, lazima nikaa gorofa, lazima foundation ikuje ndio build to my fan base kidogo.
Did you at one point consider maybe hii usanii nilichagua hata naipenda, kuna venye I might have to like niachane nayo kidogo ikuwe kama side hustle, nipate kazi sasa yenye ni main hustle?
Mimi sijai think kitu kama hiyo kwa maisha yangu. But also unajua nilikuja nikaingia kwa production pia. Kwa sababu mimi nilikuwa nataka like mimi mwenyewe like ninaweza sketch something then naita producer ama naambia producer na sketchi we finish. So mimi kwa life yangu sijai think kwa sababu mimi trust. I think watu trust sana, who believe one day one time ni mimi. So mimi kwa life yangu since nianze music nikifanya ngoma hata ichape miss, ninajuanga hii haja make it, but next time lazima hiyo inaweza make it.
Na nini nilifanya ufanye collab na Danny Gift? Mbona Danny Gift?
Danny Gift nilianza kumwadmire nikiwa I think primary. Alikuwa ananikulisha na mablutik pale Facebook. So after nimefahamu Mungu Yupo nikamtafuta pale Nairobi Records. So alikuwa amesainiwa Nairobi Records hiyo time. So pia yeye nikamwambia na understand hiyo time nilikuwa nimefanya audio yangu. Najua nikianzanga audio nilifanya bidii sana, nikafanya Rich Beats producer, na hiyo time alikuwa amehit amefanya Willy Paul Lala Salama. Nikafanya video na Erikomba like alikuwa amefanywa kina Gloria. So I think that Gift aliona pia huyu boy anajikaza, anataka something good. So akakuja accept. Hiyo time nilikuwa na watch mingi sana, but linielewa tu.
Ni vizuri kujikubali. At this point I just want us to play for you that jam that he did in collaboration with Danny Gift before we get to continue with the conversation, to just see that space when he was starting, and we'll also be playing one of his most recent jams in a bit. So have a look.
Tuko busy tuna hustle every day, kawaida kujilinda na no wonder tumeshinda. Mashida zikikam sisi twaziondokea, huku tukiendelea life tukijijengea. Mavijana tupambane every day, kusimama mambo mapya, kuzindua mabaya kuyazingua. Mwenyezi kumtambua, Biblia kufungua, neno lake kungamua. Nasema hivi, maisha ni magumu, twende pole ndo tufike CVO. Kwa jamii tunasema wasanii, binadamu watalii, makasisi wanabii. Tushikane kwa pamoja na tuimbe namna hii. Bila uradi kwa Mungu kuna miradi, jitahidi, jitafiti, tafuta hiyo tikiti. Biblia takatifu kwa kweli ni ubunifu, tukue wavumilivu, tuishi kukula mbivu, tuache wivu kwa majirani, utakatifu utaki wenye wivu. Piga magoti, sala kwa Yesu, pole pole kwa Mungu kubisha hodi. So happy, so close, be strong, don't lose, hands up, don't choose, shetani asikuyuse, na baadaye ufurahi. Bye bye, achana naye, fuata njia zake, good itakuwa sawa.
za kibaba walishasemaga, jikaze kimwana, kuna siku utashinda, usikate tamaa. Haraka haina baraka, usidanganywe, pole pole ndo mwendo tu, usitanganywe. Haraka haina baraka, usidanganywe.
There you have it. Tuna Songa, Harry Nesta featuring Danny Gift, one of his first songs that he put out there. Let me tell you, tukisema watu wametoka mbali. Wametoka mbali. Wamenye alikuwa amekonda hapo and alikuwa na discover muziki. He was so young. You can clearly see, and you know, it has been a journey. And for a starter, you know, I think that was a really good piece. Even quality of video, it's really good as opposed to, you know, what we hear for most artists. Tunananga video ya kwanza. Uko like, Jesus, take the wheel. But that was a really good video in terms of the quality of production. So you, ulijaribu. Look back on your journey, don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. So after your collabo, ilikupea mileage kiasi ama what was the aftermath after umefanya your collabo na Danny Gift?
Ilinipiga push kidogo kwa sababu that time pia Danny Gift aliniintroduce kwa so many artists wakina Mashmwana. Hapo ndio nilianza kujuana Mashmwana. Pia kuunda fan base, at least nilianza somewhere. Those fans wake kiasi walinijua na hapo. So nilianza like kukua na alinifunza vitu mingi, kuniambia like music inafanya hivi, interview inakuanga hivi. So mimi ushukuru sana. Hata kama haikuenda sana kuhit na nini, but mimi ushukuru sana kwa sababu ile nisongesha level fulani kwa life yangu ya music pia.
Awesome. Now from that point umetoa video kadhaa in between Tuna Songa hadi za kiroho ambayo tutakuwa tunacheza leo, which is 3 days old, mind you. We'll be getting to that in a bit. Tuambie kidogo kuhusu hizo nyimbo ziko hapo katikati.
After hapo tulikuwa tuna work na msichana fulani anaitwa Pascalina pia, inaitwa Take It Over. So after tumefanya Tuna Songa, after tumeongea tu, so akaniambia like, sasa Hari, ninaona unaenda mbali, so acha tu Mungu Take It Over. Nikamwambia na hiyo ni idea kali. So kama naandika ngoma nikafeel nimfiche hii. Then nikianza music sikuwa naamini naweza sing chorus. Nilikuwa naamini naweza tu kuwa rapper tu. So tukafuse tukafanya Take It Over. Naona sana nataka ku appreciate hiyo time tulifanya John Tez. Video tukafanya Cream Vision pia. Nashukuru. Then kutoka hapo after Take It Over nikakuja nikaanza like mimi nimelelewa kwa hizi chachi za nini za kiroho, unajua hizi za kudundu
survive.
Yeah, so after hapo nikaanza venye nilikuja Nairobi sikuwa naomba hizo chachi. So nilianza ku miss those moments nikiwa ocha huko. So nikaandika song fulani ilikuwa inaitwa Indumba. Indumba ni ile drum kubwa yenye unaona watu wakitembea, hizo chachi zikitembea na road. So nilikuwa naendanga show, ninapiga freestyle nikiingia stage. So nini freestyle ya kuingia stage na kwa kale kushinda ngoma na performance. So nikaamua hapana, imefika high time, haiwezi. Imefika high time ni producing ngoma. So I did that track na mimi mwenyewe nilisketch kila kitu, then nikashirikisha other producer alikuwa anaitwa Mesesi, sasa kwa EMB na Bahati. So tukafanyia audio. Sasa hiyo audio after ku release hivi hiyo Indumba sasa watu wakaipenda sana. Sasa nikaanza fans naona hata those celebs wako like, "Ai bro,
ni nani?
Hii style ni mzuri sana." But hiyo style kitu ilinspire sana. Nilikuwa kuna time tulikuwa tumekaa, so mayouth nikasikia wakisema, sasa watu wanaokoka sahi wakiwa wa young, sisi tunataka twende Dunda tujibambe club na nini, bro nyinyi mnajibamba aje? So kitu iliniuma sana. So venye nilienda kwa nyumba nikafuse hiyo ngoma, nikasema like ninataka kufanya sasa music za bangers, gospel bangers zenye anybody mwenye kwa Christ na kwa youth na nataka kujibamba, naweza jibamba nazo.
Anaweza jibamba.
So nikafanyia ngoma inaitwa Indumba. Na ilisonga poa sana, yani ninafurahia sana, ilisonga poa sana.
Na iko pale YouTube.
Iko pale YouTube.
For those of you wenye wanaanda Indumba modern version, you can go and check it out pale YouTube.
Yeah. Then after hapo nikafanya Cherera pia. Kuna song inaitwa Cherera. Cherera inamaanisha like a comeback, Mungu arudi. Hiyo nilifanya after kuona vitu like zina happen zenye, yani mayuto tumepotea, yani tunapenda tu yani zile vitu mbaya, ma drugs na nini. Sasa nilikuwa naambia Mungu, kila youth ukimfikia anasema wasanii wa gospel, mapasta nao unajua. So nikasema so kama watu hawezi amini pasta nini, God akuje tu mwenyewe ajintervene tu watu wa change. So after hapo tena nikafanya Husai nilifanya last year. Hiyo let's pray ilikuwa inasema tuombe, nilifanya kwa hii time ya COVID. So nikasema like ni maombi tu, maombi ikifika naye Mungu anajibu one time. So in case yani tukiomba hii mambo ya COVID unaona venye imetufinya sana. So mimi huamini like kama ni prayer tu God anaweza jibu constant. Kama alikuwa anaponya vipofu lema, so hiyo ugonjwa inaweza itoa tu one time.
It's nothing to do.
So nikafanya last year, I think nikafanya hiyo Husai, nikafanya na boy wangu kwa sababu pia mimi nakuanga producer na tuko na studio inaitwa GGF pia. So nikafanya msanii wangu anaitwa Wiki G, ngoma inaitwa Amini Shape. Nikakuja nikafanya ngoma inaitwa Stay at Home. Then sasa
hizi ni ma audio
video zote.
Video pia?
Yeah.
Okay.
So after hapo nikajipatia like 7 months, 8. So that's why sasa nikakuja sasa na music inaitwa sasa Zakiroho.
Zakiroho ambayo we're going to be playing for you in just a bit. Now what's the story in Zakiroho?
Zakiroho ni kitu ilinspire sana. Kuna kuworship in spirit. Na kuworship tu. Njua, kuna kuzama
ndani ya worship.
So Zakiroho ni word ya kuworship in spirit. But mostly ni Zakiroho nimeitoa mostly kwa hizo church za Kiroho. Like ukisikia kitambo walicheza zilizolingala lakini siku hizi wanacheza za Kiroho. Kitambo walicheza zilizolingala lakini siku hizi wanacheza za Kiroho. Ama harinesa nadanganya wapi wanataka nini, ngoma za Mungu za Kiroho. Understand? So nilikuwa nataka kuleta tu watu sasa sasa watu wameleta music, kuna vibe different imekuja, secular imekuja na gengeton. So sasa na mimi nimeleta style inaitwa Zakiroho. Ukiworship, ukidance, ukipraise, una worship in spirit.
Awesome. Now tukimalizia, we're going to be playing that song in a bit, but for all those who are going to be watching your video, what's the take home very briefly? And nataka hata kama hatapenda ngoma ama ataipenda sana, lakini this is one thing that sitaki miss from this song.
Okay, ninaomba tu fast. Nataka support sana kwa sababu najua lazima ataipenda tu kwa sababu ni ngoma pop from audio, from video. But I think hiyo ni testimony yangu sana. So sikia tu hiyo ngoma najua itakubless, itakujenga sana. Kwanza kwa hii time ya COVID na nimeimba about life yenye nimekuwa na penye God ameniinua. Na usingoje lazima sijui ufike above sana ndio appreciate God. God tu akikupiga tu step kidogo. Appreciate God from hapo.
Appreciate God from hapo. I love it, and I don't want to add anything more onto that. Before we get to usher in our commercial, we're going to be leaving you with his brand new gem, and of course we're going to play it again for you in full. But for now, here is Harry Nesta with Zakiroho.
Kitambo walicheza zilizolingala lakini siku hizi wanacheza za Kiroho. Kitambo walicheza zilizolingala lakini siku hizi wanacheza za Kiroho. Harinesa nadanganya wapi nataka nini, ngoma za Mungu za Kiroho. Hari nadanganya wapi nataka nini, ngoma za Mungu za Kiroho. Nilicheza bolinga na ngai ila bado Mungu wangu linitunukia. Nisingogombe nilicheza nikatesa ila bado Mungu wangu linivumilia. Nakumbuka tu Papa Lolo ila huku niacha solo. Papa Lolo ila huku niacha solo. Vile ninaishi bana ushuda, sitaki kusaliti kama Yuda disciple. Hata nienda stray unanita bado. Walioniona kijijini wakati niko chini wanaweza kukusimulia. Uliza Suleibizo tukapatana mjini anaweza kukusimulia. Harinesa nadanganya wapi nataka nini, ngoma za Mungu za Kiroho. Hari nadanganya wapi nataka nini, ngoma za Mungu za Kiroho. Harinesa nadanganya wapi nataka nini, ngoma za Mungu za Kiroho. Hari nadanganya wapi nataka nini, ngoma za Mungu za Kiroho. Usione naimba na ngara na tamba mwanzio soko nguvu zangu. Ni kwa neema huruma na fadhili za Baba ndio zinanibeba. Hajaniacha hata one day. Nitamsifu mimi daily. Ibilisi huwezi ni blackmail. Nitamsifu toka Monday hadi Sunday. hata waseme watukane injili ya Bwana mimi kwake nitavumilia. Wakiniona na kendai wadhani ni majuju ila kwake nitakimbilia. Bahari ni sana danganya, nataka nini? Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Hari na danganya, nataka nini? Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Nikuke gengeto. Napenda nini? Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Nichape zilizo. Nataka nini? Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Nikuke gengeto. Nataka nini? Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Nichape kipoze. Napenda nini? Ngoma za Mungu za kiroho. Charles Barrow, Alchemist.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBay ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBay ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
This weekend on KBC Channel 1.
I am Loteni now. Atito, I am never coming to clean your house again. You can now clean your smelling gym clothes, you are smelling bathroom, you are smelling kitchen, you are smelling everything.
Shut up! Or better off, you better let me know tomorrow so that I can bring you women clothing. You join the women's club. You win.
Julia, Julia.
Amo.
You win. This thing needs patience and precision. When you go in too fast, of course you will get tired very easily.
Too much baking. Why can't you get the and show us the action?
They say kutembea kwingi kuona mengi. Uopie kime.
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
Welcome back to the program. This is still Good Morning Kenya. Time for our second conversation, still on Entertainment Thursday, as we look at the gospel space. However, we focus on something a bit, on something a bit different. We look at the challenges that gospel artists face. We know that the issue of finances is an ongoing problem that a good number of these artists face. But aside from finances, what other things do they face in terms of challenges, and how do they deal with that? That is our focus, even as we look at the gospel space. And on set, I'm joined by Paul Musyoka. How are you?
I'm fine.
You easy relaxed?
Yeah.
You began doing music, or better still writing, in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
However, professionally, because this is in recording and releasing, ulianza last year, which was in 2020. Yes. That's like a 10-year space. Tell us a bit about that. Why did it take that long before you actually began it professionally?
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for hosting me. And I would like to say, back in 2010, that is the time I began to write music.
Uh-huh.
And I did not just begin. I had a calling from the Lord, and from that time, I wrote my first song. And after writing the song, it has not been easy. I tried to release, but financially I could not make it because by that time I was in school.
So again, the finances aspect still is in.
Yeah.
Okay.
By that time I was in school. I was in class 7. So I could not manage to maneuver. But back in 2013, I tried a bit. I went to a certain studio, but I think the producer that I met did not do things well because I could not still manage to maneuver because of some issues. But finally last year, the Lord enabled me. Financially, I managed, and I went to the studio, and I released my first song, that is Gia, and the second song that came in this year, that is Ego Metukuka.
Okay.
And I thank God.
All right, that's a beautiful, journey, at least also to make us understand, because again, there's always that aspect of Sani Akianza. Why do they take a long break before they actually release different songs or singles here and there? But at least we get to understand from your perspective. But also, you talked about God called you. Which means you didn't call yourself.
Yeah.
Haukujiita.
Yeah.
So does that mean for you it's going to be gospel all day? Because again, you're pretty young, and again, there's always that aspect of tunaanza tuna gospel. Then, as I continue rediscovering myself, I'm adventure into inspirational music, or even go to secular, as what you've seen different other gospel artists do. So for you, is it gospel all the way, and what keeps you ground?
To me, it's gospel all the way. Because my calling is not in secular.
Okay.
And the Lord has called me to gospel. And reading the word of God will still maintain my stability. And nothing will shake me. And nothing will change my mind.
So for you, it's reading the word of God that keeps you aground?
Yeah, reading the word of God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you began, if I can say again, professionally, because this was last year, did you have people that stood by you, perhaps mentors, that people that worked with you, that maybe make you understand how to even write and compose, how to go about doing music? Because, I mean, you are just really beginning professionally.
Yeah, many people stood up with me in terms of ideas. Yeah, my parents encouraged me a lot. They gave me ideas on how to go about it. They told me, my son, you can make it. And those words have kept me moving every day. Every day I try to remember the way they've been encouraging me, and I still feel the zeal to continue. And some that I met with, that is the gospel artists who have gone ahead of me. They kept on showing me the way forward, trying to tell me about how you can release a song, how you can meet the best producers. And I think that has been of great help to me.
You're saying those gospel artists that had gone ahead of you, which I'll imagine that those are people that perhaps you call your mentors.
Yeah.
All right. So which artists are this, and how have you just being in the space with them? How has it shifted how you look at the gospel space?
I've not got.
Ni wasanii wagani au unasema wamekushika mkono?
Oh.
Yeah.
One of them being Mowo Musembi. Mowo Musembi is a gospel artist and a great friend of mine. He has been so supportive in terms of ideas and showing me the way forward, because he has released some songs and he knows the music area, how to deal with it and how to handle cases in terms of music. Yeah.
So at least also that makes you as a person understand how to handle cases and how to maneuver in the gospel space as a person. What do you think is the importance of really having a mentor? Because again, as a young upcoming artist, a good number of them will tell you, I feel like I'm talented. I feel like I can write songs. So why do I need someone to really hold my hand and to walk me through? What do you think is the importance of having a mentor? And that also upcoming artists need to understand even as they do their craft.
It is actually important to have a mentor, because on your own, your mind might not take you to where you want to go. Because in life there is always a person who has gone ahead of you, and you have to appreciate the person who has gone ahead of you and learn from that person. And it's only by learning from that person that you can manage to maneuver and be the person you want to be. So having a mentor is something important, because that mentor will tell you things that you don't know about the music that you are about to enter into. Like personally, when I was entering into music ministry, I knew nothing about ministry.
You just knew you could sing.
Yeah, I knew that I have a voice, I can sing, I can write songs, but I didn't know the way to go. Yeah, the only thing I knew is live ministration. I could minister live in churches, and I thought that is it. But when I met this brother of mine, he told me that is not the case. If you have songs, you have to make another step ahead. And that is the time now I began to make the step, and I've seen the Lord working on my side.
Okay.
Yeah.
From your perspective, again, just as a gospel artist or even a gospel minister, do you feel like that is one of the things that is lacking in most gospel artists? Because there's a lot of complaints, especially as how the gospel space and how artists are composing their songs. Some would say, I wanaimba tu furaishe wa Kenya, ama tu just furaisha watu. Like there's no message in it. That is one of the things that people will say. So do you feel like that is one of the things that is lacking in the gospel space? Mentorship.
Yeah, mentorship is actually lacking, but something very important is lacking in gospel sector, that is music, and that is reading the word of God. Because in gospel music, it's all about singing the word. You cannot sing without the word of God. So you must read scriptures, you hit scriptures, until you be a walking Bible. That is the time now you will be able to manage.
Bible?
Yeah, you be a walking Bible. That is the time now you will be able to maneuver in the right way. Because many of the gospel artists, yes, they are singing, but if you listen to the songs that they are singing, the content of the song, it doesn't have the word of God. They are floating because they don't know the word. So actually, mentorship is lacking, but to some point, the word is lacking so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you see, again, some will tell you that, I mean, when I'm doing gospel music, I don't need to keep mentioning God in it. You know?
But you cannot sing the gospel songs without mentioning God, because it's all about God.
Right.
You know, when we are singing gospel, it's like brand ambassadors. We are branding the kingdom of heaven. We are like doing advertisement of the kingdom. So you cannot advertise the kingdom without talking of the content of that kingdom. So we need to talk about the word and the name of God, because the name of God is all we need in the kingdom.
So it's not just a question of mentorship per se or only. There's still other issues here and there that are lacking in the gospel space as it pertains to the kind of content and messages and message that rather this artist will produce in form of songs. And reading the word is also one of those pertinent issues that they need to start understanding that, so maneno. Let's talk about your first single, Njia, which is now still in audio form. What was the inspiration behind that song?
Yeah, the inspiration behind that song, it's from the story of the Israelites when they were crossing the Red Sea. The Lord made a way. And because I've been working on the music ministry, trying to maneuver, and for all those 10 years, I've not been able to. But finally, the Lord enabled me to maneuver and to manage to sing the first song. So the Lord gave me another song, that song that is Gia, to address the situation that He has made a way in my ministry, the music ministry, because I didn't believe that one day I can become an artist. I didn't believe that one day I can sing my own songs, and not only singing live, but going to the studio and recording and even releasing videos. But the Lord made a way. That is now the inspiration behind it.
The Lord made a way.
He made a
so
way.
We could say that at least your songs, or even that first song, is as a result of what you had been going through as a person.
Yeah.
And then you put it into song, intertwined by the word. All right, let's start speaking to Paul Musyoka, who is a gospel artist, just talking to us about his journey, what he has had to go through as an artist, trying to maneuver, as he mentions, just from his story, and also just we're talking about the challenges that he has faced aside from the financial bit. But again, remember, you can be part of this conversation by talking to us via our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 TV on Twitter, at Jane Womboy, at Victor Olo, at Ray Manyara, and mine at Doreen Arang. And I'm already seeing feedback there. Honorable Maggie Lona Kariuki Vicky says that she's tuned in akiwa Embu County. Tunasema asante sana, and all of you also whichever questions you might be having from our for our artists rather, shoot them through and we'll be forwarding those questions to him. Now, Paul, aside from just that which you went through as a person, which was an inspiration to your first song, Gia,
Yes.
what else inspires you as an artist? Like, what do you look at and you say, like, actually for me, I feel like this is one of my biggest inspirations? Maybe what in regards to perhaps what people go through, and you feel like perhaps you need to give an encouragement to them via a song, aside just from your own personal experiences.
Personally, I've experienced a lot because in terms of the background where I come from, yeah, and I've not seen another musician and another artist. I'm actually the first one, and it has kept me moving in terms of I need to go where nobody else has gone. I need to do the things that nobody else has done in our family, and I need to lay a ground for the other people who are coming behind me, because there are still those people that are under me in terms of mentorship, those who call me their mentor, and they need to follow my route where I'm passing through.
Okay, so you were given, you want to give back.
I want to give back.
All right, then what was the reception like when you released that song?
The first song?
Yes.
The reception, it was not bad. The people received it well, and they kept on commenting there on YouTube and singing it. I could hear people even singing it while walking on the way.
Oh, that's nice for a first song.
Yeah, for the first song, because my song, I sang it direct to God, because I say unatengeneza jia. Sijasema anatengeneza jia. When I say unatengeneza jia, I'm addressing God direct. So it's a powerful and touching song. It's a song that can lead somebody even to worship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's come to those challenges that we were saying earlier, and like we were saying, is that finances never miss. You also alluded to that a bit. But aside from that, what has been that point just in your music journey all through even these 10 years that actually made you feel like, by there at this point, I feel like I may want to give up, but I still continue because I know the call that's on my life. What was that difficult moment like for you? What was it?
The difficult moment before I began.
The challenge or the challenge aside just from the finances.
Yeah, I encountered some challenges, and first I said I've been ministering live in churches, and having the platforms to minister, it has not been easy. And remember, that is where you get exposure. You know how things are done. You learn from the other ministers, and the more you continue to learn, the more you are exposed, and the more you learn how to sing and how to compose songs, and how to take them to studio, how to interact with people. Yeah, so getting the exposure, it has not been easy. It has not been that easy, but finally, I thank God, He has made it. Secondly, it has not been easy. That is from the side of our family where I come from. Some people did not understand and did not embrace the gift that I have. There are people that when they heard me sing, they could say, these are the kind of people that like pretending. You are pretending like the Lord has called you. Where did you, when did you hear that call? How did He call you?
How did He call you?
Yeah, those are the questions that they used to ask me. And it came to a point I was almost giving up. But to some point, because I had the calling from the Lord, the calling from the Lord, to some point I decided that I must move until I achieve what I want to achieve. So that is the case.
So basically, I mean, just that exposure bit is also one of the things that you've had to perhaps struggle through.
And discouragement.
And discouragement.
Yeah, from friends.
Oh, also from friends who didn't believe in your gift and your craft.
They did not believe in my gift.
And your craft.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, regardless of that, even that strong support system of parents, like you mentioned earlier, at least I would say that that's one of the things that has at least kept you through. Okay. Now, your latest song, Igwe Umetukuka, right?
Yeah.
Which again you released in 2021. And your first song in 2020. Even before you got to that song, what really brought about the idea of releasing your songs, I mean, in this time of COVID? Because again, you'd see many artists say that this is the point where I became more creative. I went to my creative zone. Was it like the same case for you, or what was the whole idea behind releasing songs in this style?
You know, there is a secret in this season, because it's like a kind of a hiding season, and when the Lord hides you, there is always something happening in the hiding. So when the hiding was taking place, the Lord was preparing me, and He was cooking me to become somebody. So by that time, I began to read Word. I could spend more time with God. I could pray a lot. I could worship the Lord at my hidden place. And at that hiding time, the Lord gave me the song Igwe. And I believe it's in the timing of God, because the other time I've been trying and I could make it. I could not make it. Inakatatu. But at this time around, during the time of Corona, when things are tough, financially people are not stable, but the Lord enabled me to maneuver during that time. It was in the timing of God.
Let's stick there a bit. The question of timing, which brings about that whole aspect of even being patient. And I'd want to imagine that at least a lot of creatives, not just artists in the gospel space alone, sometimes that's one of the things that I would say we lack, you know, in the creative space. Because you feel like, again, just goes back to that whole idea of, I feel like I'm talented, I can do this, you know, you can see my craft, so why do I need to wait? I'd want you to talk to us a bit about that aspect of timing and waiting and patience, and how important it is, especially for artists and even just creatives as a whole.
Yeah, timing and waiting upon God, it's important, because there are people that, because of lack of patience, and they keep on waiting upon God, and when the Lord is about to appear, the person gives up.
Or they've gone to do their own other things.
Yeah, they've gone to do other things, and they assume that God was not to show up. So it's good to have the gift of patience, and to be patient enough, even if you wait for 20 years. If the thing is in you, it has automatically to come to pass. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter where. The Lord is busy preparing it and cooking it to come to manifest. So this is where the gospel artist and other artists miss the point, because you keep on waiting upon God. You wait upon God, you wait upon God, you write songs. Many people have wrote many songs, even over 50 songs, and you've not sung any song. And because you feel like this has delayed a lot, you feel discouraged and you feel disappointed. And at that time, you give up. So you should not allow yourself to give up. You should keep on pressing on and wait upon God. In His timing, He will do something and He will manifest you.
And that, again, just be patient. As much as it's a difficult virtue to learn, but just be patient. What do you want us to conclude without talking about that aspect of prosperity in the gospel space and even in gospel music? I'd really want to pick your mind on what you think about prospering quickly. Because you see, they say gospel ministry, gospel music, being in that kind of space is all about ministry. But where does that leave the aspect of prosperity? I mean, do I just minister? I mean, if money comes, okay. If it doesn't, fine.
No, not really. Actually, in terms of finance, you need prosperity in ministry, because ministry, yes, it's from the Lord. God has called you, but there are things that you cannot do without money. I cannot go to the studio without money. I cannot shoot videos without money. So you need money to expand in the ministry. So prosperity is much needed. So as we still continue to minister, we still need to prosper in terms of finance. so that we can be stable in ministry. Yeah.
So they actually go hand in hand.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
All right. Finally, as you conclude, Paul, tell us a bit about Igwe Umetukuka. Kwanza, there's that Nigeria bit in the song.
Igwe Umetukuka, Igwe is a term that means His Excellency, Your Majesty, things that are like a king. Yeah, so Igwe Umetukuka, it's a song to address God because of, if you listen to that song, the first verse of the song, it says, makabila yote yanakuinamia, wafalme wote wanasujudu mbele zako. In this time, the time that we are living right now, everybody knows that only God deserves to be worshipped. Because they knew that God can finish the earth in any time, any minute, because He's the one in control of the universe. So I sang that song to address the powers that God has to control the earth and everything on earth. Because nasema makabila yote yanakuinamia, wafalme wote wametambua kwamba wewe ndiwe Mungu. Na ni kweli kwamba hakuna Mungu mwingine. We don't have another king. That is the only king. Even the powerful kings we know, they cannot exceed the power that he has. He is the only one who reigns.
So it's more like giving reverence to God.
Yeah, giving reverence to God.
All right. So what next for you as an artist? What do you have lined up where, for you as an artist?
In terms of songs?
Yes. That's what describes you anyway. In terms of content, release of music.
Yeah, next I'm releasing another song, and I think it's not good to mention it right now.
You don't want your fans to know when you want to release the next song.
Next I'm releasing another song, probably before the end of this month.
Okay.
I'm releasing another song, but this time around I'm doing a Kamba song because I'm a Kamba.
And I represent.
This time around I'm doing a Kamba song, and I'm singing Mwea Ihosanguma. So my fans, stay connected and wait.
Stay connected and wait, as Paul Musyoka says. And thank you so much for your time, talking to us also a bit about your journey and making us understand some of these issues that a good number of gospel artists would face, and even how to come out of that. All right, so we're not done with Good Morning Kenya. Up next will be trending topics. But before we get to that, how about I leave you with Paul's latest song, Umetukuka. Take a look.
Makabila yote yanakuinamia, wafalme wote wasujudu mbele zako, dunia nzima inakujua, Igwe umetukuka. Makabila yote yanakuinamia, wafalme wote wasujudu mbele zako, dunia nzima inakujua, Igwe umetukuka, umetukuka, wakamba waseme umetukuka, wana boda boda wote umetukuka, wachungaji waseme umetukuka. Kitizama matendo yako yadhirika machoni pangu, wengine wote miungu, wewe ndiwe Mungu, tunasema umetukuka. Kitizama matendo yako yadhirika machoni pangu, wengine wote miungu, wewe ndiwe Mungu, tunasema umetukuka. Makabila yote umetukuka, walia waimbe umetukuka, tamu zikinywani mwangu milele.
Je, umeomoka? Kama hujaomoka kwenye QuickBin ndio mambo yote. Hapa tuko na fridge, kodi yake ni CM. Tuko na gas cooker, kodi yake ni CK. Tuko na TV, kodi yake ni TV. Tuko na simu aina ya Samsung ni SM, ama Oppo ni Oppo. My friend, mahali popote unanitizama, eka hizo kodi zake kisha utume kwa 4032353. 4032353, alafu utakuwa unaomoka na hizi bidhaa. Kumbuka, kwenye QuickBin ni bidhaa bora zaidi kwa bei ya chini kwa chini.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
I didn't write that. Really? You got it wrong. I am not your father.
After you rip your shirt off, do you actually do this? Or do you do something like this?
It's me. Monster!
Hello?
Honey, don't be mad at me. I was wrong. I was too mean and wicked refusing your baby. I've thought it through. Since you're his daddy and I'm with you, I'll try my best to be a good stepmother, okay?
Well, hold on.
相见不如怀念。 Shingo amoshawahiwa mwendo na mitindo kama Rosie Huntington, shavuni hizo dimples hazijaniacha salama. Mama ulivyo simple haujapaka tamaskara.
Nasema kivesi anata pimpo, ndefu yake shingo, kiuno kama City ya Lincoln, macho yake kama ya chinko.
'Cause you're beautiful, mama. Inaomba tujua, ane, bere tuona, ane, uwe na tufaa, ane, uwe na tupenda, ane. 'Cause you're beautiful, mama. Inaomba tujua, ane, bere tuona, ane, uwe na tufaa, ane, uwe na tupenda, ane. I guess I'm in love. I'm in love with you. I guess I'm in love now. I'm in love with you. I guess I'm in love. I'm in love with you. I guess I'm in love. I'm in love with you.
Vicky Bandes.
Chikubana.
I'm in love. Nyinyi ndio sound effects.
Rudia tutuweke ya Victor. Victor hasn't participated in that one.
Victor, angusha kitu.
I'm in love.
Aya. Mungu
Dorin, say it na mimi nikuwekea soundtrack.
Nani mimi? I'm in love.
Mimi nakuweka soundtrack.
Can I have take 2?
Aya.
I'm in love.
Okay. Ajaluo.
Hata haina emotions.
What is that?
He's being dramatic.
What are those?
Say it like you mean it.
Like I mean it.
Look into the viewer's eyes.
And say it like you mean it.
Like I mean it.
Feel it in your heart.
Mpenzi
With
mtazamaji.
gestures and all that.
Go for it.
I in love.
Wewe ulikuanga kwa timu ya poem high school.
Huyo.
Soundtrack.
You know Otonglo time. Otonglo time.
Otonglo time
is Victor time. Mimi sasa if I was to say it.
Wewe Ray unatoa tule sauti mtu anatoanga kigongo when you stab your pinky toe. Ndio hiyo.
I am in love.
When you stab your pinky toe ndio hizo za Regina hapo.
Hiyo si allowed.
But tunakula bado.
I can also say it. Come on. What do you think?
Like you mean it.
Marians, we are also
to our
romantic
viewer.
people.
Our viewer this morning, everyone view na
kwa mpenzi mtazamaji.
Mkurugenzi mkuu.
Mkurugenzi.
Gavana. Mwenyekiti. Mwenye mali.
Ako nini?
Mwenye kusababisha. Ndio hiyo, mwambie.
You left me at that point. Umeniacha kwa hiyo stage hata sina fare.
Amekuachia wapi kwa mwenye mali?
Hapo
mwenye mali.
Kusababisha.
Ambiwe. Mpenzi mtazamaji, hebu tusikie yako ndio useme baba. Just so we are clear. Atutaki baba?
Ai.
Ama Harvard kana mama.
Wacha tu aseme, hebu mpatie time.
You know, I'm a proud Marian, considering that today we're going to be having Lady Justice Martha Koome just being, you know, people debate and we're her taking up the position of being Chief Justice. We always make fun here and say, people from Amero, we went to Harvard. Mimi ni Mbevu. Mimi ni Mbevu kutoka Mberu. But anyway, we can also not, some of us don't have that accent, but we're still Marians by blood. So this is a challenge. If I can say, I love you in my mother tongue. How about that? Like you mean it. Like I mean it. In English, Kiswahili, or mother tongue.
Mother tongue.
Cheza kama wewe.
Doreen, I can speak my language, unlike you.
Cheza kama wewe. Wewe.
Inkwendete mono.
Aya. Mwenye mali umesikia.
I love you very much. Nakupenda sana. Mpenzi mtazamaji.
Mgani huyo?
There's so many. This is Kenya's watching. Kenya, this is a national broadcaster.
Oh yes.
This is a national broadcaster. Niko hapa kwa ajili yako.
Doreen, can you say I love you in your mother tongue?
Please do not put me up to that.
Then why are you trying to crucify Ray?
No. Insist your story.
Doreen can't.
Try.
Unaweza na lugha gani?
We not victimize.
Sema na ile lugha unaweza.
Ndahuyanza.
Hapana.
Hivyo, si mimi ndo najua mother tongue yangu. Unajaribu kwani wewe ndo unajua?
We know you.
Man, this is the team. It's always a good time here with Good Morning Kenya. The only way to start your morning, and before we are nearing the end of the week and the program for that matter, but we always get to end with our trending topics segment. And these are just basically stories zenye zimekuwa zikisumbua watu mitandaoni. People have had a lot to say about this, and we welcome you to share with us your thoughts. Hashtag still remains to be Good Morning Kenya pale Twitter, at KBC Channel 1 News, at Ray Manyara, at Dorina Range, at Victor Olo, and at Jane Wamboy is how you can always get in touch with us. And we thoroughly appreciate those of you who've already tuned Salimiana. Naona hapo Selector Arafat kama K, Kiplagat Kitur, Mark na pale, supporter wa Raila na kucheki hapo ni handle ya mtu. Thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, William Moburi kama kawaida, thank you so much for tuning in. Now, let's get into our trending topic segment. And this first story is actually one of what was in the papers this morning about this gentleman who rather sexually assaulted this young lady. And very quickly, we touched on it in the when you were in the headlines, but just guys, looking at issue of mob justice, to what extent do we draw the line? Like, how far is too far when it comes to issues around mob justice? And looking at this particular case, for those of you who might have missed it, it's of course the videos on social media. You can go ahead and check it out. It was this guy. He had offered a lift to this young lady. Along the way, he just deviated off the road, assaulted her sexually, and threatened her. If she speaks up, he's going to kill her or do harm to her. So during that bit of confrontation, she managed to get a hold of the steering, and the car went off the road, and that is when she screamed, and locals that were nearby came to her aid. She told them what was happening, and they beat him. And it was when the police came that they were able to save this guy and take him to jail, and later on he was taken to hospital and is going to be charged with sexual assault and indecent act in public. I don't know what you guys think about issues of mob justice.
How far is too far? Well, it may not be right, per se, to take, like what they say, the law in your hands. Because, I mean, something could go wrong while you're doing that, and it becomes a different case altogether. But then I think when such cases happen, or in such instances, I think it's just a question of Kenyans are tired, or the people in that particular space are tired. It could be as a result of different series of issues had been happening. And
previous
then
triggers?
Yes, and then they just find it. So they met it all out onto you. Juendo wamekupata. So yes, it could be wrong. But again, on the other side, it's just a question of, by the way, we are tired. And why were you doing it knowing that it's a wrong kind of thing? So, I mean, it's... I feel like something that it's in a balance.
And you know, with the fact that we've been seeing gender-based and sexual violence cases on a steady rise for the better part of the last year.
Yeah.
We have been almost on a daily. There's a sexual offense cases that is reported, mainstream media, social media. So, and you know, Ray, like, when we take matters into our own hands as opposed to allowing the law to prevail.
I like how Ray has first adjusted the hair.
First of all,
I needed to adjust my crown. I didn't want it to,
I just need to be ready.
Yeah.
Go for it, Ma.
I'm trying to be politically correct, being that this is a national broadcaster, but also my roots are rising, you know, watu wapanga, Ngamutema, you know, those people. So I'm really trying to balance all that. But in regard to this particular situation and case, yeah, and I'm not trying to, but you've asked for my personal opinion.
Yes.
I think if I was around there, I would have taken a stab at the guy too.
You would have participated?
I would have participated.
Yeah.
Because it's just an emotive issue. And I'm speaking as a mother. I'm speaking as a sister. I'm speaking as a potential victim of sexual abuse. And when we walk on the streets, I brought up this question here. When you're walking around the streets and you raise alarm about an issue, brothers and sisters in the streets just gonna look at you as if, handle your stuff, woman. Once you're done, we'll crowd you and ask you, what happened?
And they were there.
You know, and they were there. Then there's a question about, you asked, is mob justice justice?
Yes.
It happened at the spur of the moment. It's just like a thief. And we have not had these issues in a couple of months or years. I think these COVID-19 disruptions and such, Kenyans used to lynch, put a tire on a supposed thief and light it up. But we have not had these cases going on. The issue of poetic justice. I'm of the school of thought, and these are totally my views. If you take someone's life, they say you live by the sword, you die by the sword. That's all I say about this. Poetic justice.
Okay.
Because sometimes, I'm looking at this case right now.
Yeah.
So the reports yesterday was saying that, yes, this person was taken to court. There are people who came out to say that this girl was 18 years old, so of legal age, consensual age. But the point is, it was rape. It was not consensual intercourse. So there's so many dynamics in the quest for justice for this lady.
Okay.
So poetic justice, with the tea farmers over there, I would be part of that.
Vicky,
Yeah.
is mob justice justice?
Well, legally it's not. Legally it's not. From the human face, it's not. But as human beings, we are fast to react to such circumstances, all right? It took a bit of some time before police arrived at the scene. Let's just take, for example, that case that happened a day or two ago. Now, whatever happened was wrong. I talk about the legal aspect. Having a mob justice on someone is wrong, because when somebody dies or when someone dies, the case might turn into a different story altogether. Okay, what happens in a situation when there's a mob justice? There's usually, I actually talked about it, but let me explain what police usually do. Polisi atakwambia, mkitaka kumuua muue, sisi tutachukua body tupeleke mortuary. But if you don't want to kill him or her, muache aende ama tumchukue tumpeleke police station. Because if there is a mob justice netted on someone, that person will not be taken to a police cell. If he dies there or if she dies there, itakuwa kesi ya polisi. Mlichukua suspect, mkapeleka police cells, he or she died there. It's a police case. Mimi najua culprits wameenda. So mob justice either way is bad. But again, you as a victim, by the time you are going to do that kind of a heinous act, what are you thinking? Did you even have a second thought of, nikishikwa itakwaje? You get? Because this person, from the vehicle, the car was ransacked, and they found some
counterfeit money,
needles, bones, I don't know, some funny paraphernalia. So you start asking yourself, who is this person? Is this something that he's been doing, and just that day was his unlucky day? You understand? Unlucky day, quote unquote, because probably he's been doing it and, you know,
getting away with it.
Getting away with it.
Yeah.
So that day was his unlucky day. But this is a situation. There is no any other way you can justify rape. You can never justify rape. The Bible says, if you cannot control yourself, get married. Period. Exactly. Respect men, respect women. Rape happens both sides. Sexual harassment, molestation happens, and it stays in someone's brain and head and mind and soul for the longest time. In fact, there is something nobody can ever forget, like that one. You can never forget. So, yeah, mob justice is bad, and that's why police officers arrived, and they took the person to the police cell. On that note, can we take a break?
Oh, yes.
We'll be right back.
Next on
Subhanallah. Nataka unipigie zote pasi.
Hii swala anaichoma.
Wewe naye siku nilete wangu upige pasi ama uikague.
Mimi nataka uwe shahidi yangu bwana. Sije kesho akaja hapa akija akasema mimi ninamchomea suruali yake sikuichoma. Ameichoma. Wewe shahidi bwana.
Yaani suruali fuliwe, uletewe, itajichoma vipi?
Muulize Aisha.
Nimuulize nini Dobi?
Alileta ikiwa hivyo Yusuf.
Huo nimechomeka.
Nilileta suruali ikiwa nzima. Haikuwa imechomeka popote.
Welcome back, you guys. Hapa hivi tunakwanga na kaudaku sesh. Pia trending topics ni kaudaku sesh where we get to involve you. So welcome back. Still Good Morning Kenya, still trending topics. And just to pick up from where we left off before the break, let's go on to our second story. And this one, Victor, we're going to be getting like a heavy input from you as from a man standing, because this is in line with what we have seen for the better part of the last, let's say, month. And this is in regards to fathers and their children denying them publicly until DNA proves otherwise. So we all know the case of Professor Hamo, which is the most recent, with his children with Jemutai, the comedian. There has been a lot of back and forth. Jemutai was saying he doesn't support the children. Ile storia Oreo ikakuja hapo up until last week, where she said they had met to talk about how he's going to be supporting the children, but he demanded for a DNA to be done. It was done. Results came out. 99.9% he's the father. Then we remember, I think it was less than a couple of months ago, there was also a story of Kabiwa Jesus. He said to have fathered a child with his cousin years ago, and he came out to say, oh, the alleged baby is not his, that's his niece. Kakata hiyo story kabisa until last week pia DNA ilifanywa, results ikatokea, ikasema nini? You are the father. All right? And now, let me take you to a story that, an incident that happened in Baringo. There's this 47-year-old man. He's a head teacher in one of the primary schools, the local primary schools in that area. So he came home drunk, as usual. He has a wife. They have 8 children together. So he comes home at around 9 p.m. drunk and starts shouting and yelling and ambia the wife that the youngest baby, who is 5 months, si mtoto wake. Kwa nini? Jokona masikio zenye si kama zake, or his kin. Do you know what he goes on to do? So when ameingia na maasira, shouting, stomping, throwing things all over the place, and mind you, the wife sleeps in the kitchen with the kids. 8 of them. Asi wife akaona amekuja na maasira, ako drinks, acha nimpatie food, because normally this calms him down. Anaenda kumsavia, kumbe guy found his way into the kitchen, locked the door, and he started attacking the 5-month-old baby. Aliwasha jiko, akachoma mtoto uso, and when the wife was coming to just get help from the neighbors, he was almost chopping the kid down with a machete. The kid suffered 10-degree burns to the face and the knees. They're not even sure if he'll be able to see once he's out of hospital. He's currently at the hospital. She raised the alarm. That's when the neighbors came in and broke down the kitchen, and they were able to stop him from killing the baby. But the baby suffered 10-degree burns to the face and the knees. All because he's alleging mtoto si wake. 5-month-old baby boy. Wait. Let's...
okay, can I pick that?
Yes, please.
Circumstances can force people to do some heinous stuff. First of all, you look at the foundation, you look at the background, the story behind the said baby or the said relationship. One, if there is no proper foundation in a relationship between a man and a woman, constant wrangles, constant feuds and all that, it can bring a misdirected anger to a weaker object. In this case, I'm talking about a child. Okay, let me direct this situation to that baby. Sometimes when there is that sense of doubt or aspect of doubt and mistrust in a relationship, it leads to that. If, for example, sorry?
Sadly, though.
Sadly, yes.
Because the child gets to bear the consequences.
Exactly. If a couple, are blessed with 2 kids or 3, and then along the way, the issues of mistrust, promiscuity started to arise, then that issue of, I doubt kama mtoto ni wangu, inaanza to just like a very small statement, mimi sijui, for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 months I've been away, blah, 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 it's just like a very small stuff. And just by that spark and that strike of a matchbox, the whole house will burn down. So several things can lead to that. Mistrust, one. The issues of wrangles in the family too, and just by a man deciding just to be, I don't want to provide for my family. It starts like that. You become negligent and stop provide for your family. You know, I speak from the biblical point of view. As a man, our number one role is to provide.
Provide, protect, and prophesy.
The number one is provide. So if you cannot provide, then you start feeling like, you know, start bringing some excuses. Excuses, just because you have got 4 or 5 kids, you feel like you're overwhelmed. So the 6th one or the 7th one, where's he maintain? Shida inanzia. Well, just to mention but a few, but situations, so many of them can lead to that. But whatever happened to that child, I think that man deserves some serious kind of justice.
He's been arrested by the way. He had gone into hiding, but he was arrested. He's awaiting to be arraigned in court.
What do you think?
I'll say nothing justifies such kind of acts. Yeah. But also what Vika said, which is one thing I would like to allude more on, is that bit of foundation, because it is very important in any relationship. But then again, you also get to understand that we have had also such cases where there's some ladies who would pin a pregnancy on a man, knowing fully well that this is not, or they'll just pin a child on a man, knowing fully well that this man is not actually the father of that particular child. But altogether, I mean, also for you too, while you are in this relationship, whether you're just dating, in a serious relationship, or even married, and you actually sire a child together, and you know that this child is yours, why would you go ahead and even ask for DNA tests? Because again, also a good number of times, they actually show that you really are the father of that child. I mean, from those examples you've just given, one boy from the Hamu and Kabio Jesus, it was 99%, like you fully knew, well, this child is yours, but you just decided to neglect, you just decided to not take up responsibility. So again, like I mentioned earlier, nothing justifies. See, just brings back to altogether the fact that you need to take responsibility as a man, even if you wouldn't be together with this person, either as a girlfriend or as a fiancé or as a wife, but that child has nothing to do with what you two are disagreeing on. You need to take up responsibility. Okay, as a father.
Man, it's so sad.
I know.
Maskio.
The face, man.
Like, you know, I've even started looking, I've gone through our photos, our family portrait.
Kama
maskio zinafanana. You know, I come from a family of 7 siblings. So I'm busy checking if all our ears look the same. And what is outstanding here is one of my brothers is too dark. Dark, like if he walks in a place with no lights, you'd actually not see them. We call them nightshade.
Did you just call your bro?
Yeah, that is how much
nightshade. He's so dark. His palms are black, and he knows it. But he's still my brother.
From today on, you are wanted.
No, he knows.
Anyway.
While we were growing up, when the lights went off, he would always go for the torch so that we don't sit on him. You know,
by the way.
What is his name? It's called Reginald Moria. He's an advocate of the High Court. It is true, though.
He'll have case against you.
But it's true. Anyway, we're talking about physical features, and these are attributes. And my friend, that man, first of all, has to be he has to face the law.
Wrath.
Yeah. That's attacking an innocent person, because this child is a person. Secondly, you're doing it, and this is a child you sired. And there's this notion and this stereotype that we go that never ask. Only a woman knows who the father of the child is. 85%. Yeah, a woman knows. Actually, almost 100%. You know who has fathered your child. That's how we are. But now men want to run away from responsibility on account of physical attributes. Maskio, the pina, because he was talking about this, the pina. Like, I even don't know how different mine is from the next person. I think he was just looking for an excuse, Jane, to actually commit something that he had thought and planned of. And please, I would want to hear how he pleads. He was going to say he was drunk, not in his senses, shetani alimuingilia. All those are petty excuses for a heinous act. He should face the full force of the law. And I hope, because over time we have seen, these are some of the cases where the family wants to solve internally. Kwa sababu ni baba ya watoto, asifungwe jela. That baby right now is fighting for their life.
Man.
They may lose sight that they were born with. Their life changes from that day if they survive. then you want to sit down as a committee of elders and discuss. This should not be solved outside the court.
We do hope full justice actually is seen. The baby is now at the Baringo County Referral Hospital in Cabernet, and the Children's Office has been involved, thank God. They are looking into the story, and now he was arrested after he had escaped. So let's see how... And he's a head teacher in a primary school.
How do you even stand before the students in an assembly and telling students, you must respect your parents, do this, do that?
This is a person who is a danger to even the children he oversees
how will he even,
in his own homestead.
Guard the school.
But then again, this also goes to speak, culture has a role to play in this. Issue ya kusema hizi si masikio zetu. We have some ethnic groups that say they must shave the hair of the baby kuona kama shape ya kichwa ni ya familia yao. And that is only when they verify that ini kichwa yetu, hizi ni masikio zetu. And then we have these cases, I'm sure you've come across some of these cases where kids that are born to parents that are completely different than the parents, but they're actually their biological children. Because you cannot always dictate what biology does. There's a lady, she's married to, she's of black descent, but she was married to a white guy. They got fraternal twins. One was completely black, the other one was completely Caucasian. And these are children who are in the womb at the same time, born of the same mother.
It reminds me, one of my aunts actually told me that my brother is not my brother.
Because of skin color.
My brother is dark.
It's that serious?
Very dark.
But yo.
And but if you look at his nose, let me know. Since you're talking about noses, his nose is similar to my dad's nose, whose nose is also similar to his dad and his dad before. So when you're talking about those attributes, culture and traditions, also married people have come out to say that whenever you give birth, you'll always find your in-laws coming to peep at the baby. Peep at the baby. Akona masikio zetu, pua letu, we need to move away from that. I know we talk about good aspects of African culture, but some of them are too backward for us to even understand, for Pete's sake. And children need to be kept out of domestic issues. You have an issue with your spouse, deal it on a grown-up level. Do not involve the children. That's just an epic law.
And take responsibility.
Leave children alone, man. 5 months.
Doreen, I like what you're saying. Let men take responsibility of their children. It is very embarrassing after you have requested for a DNA.
Imagine.
Then it comes out 99.9%. Jesus.
Like, there's no doubt. There's no doubt.
Utajificha wapi? Like utaenda
utaambia nini watu?
And even before you actually requested for that DNA, the way in which you were saying no.
Hey. Si wangu, you even came up with a group of your bloggers to try and pick who looks like who. Then you forget that this is one world, we all live it together, people look like each other. We have even people who have double bangers, but now you call bloggers to try and pin your child on someone else on account of how they appear physically. It's very embarrassing. Can you imagine? The internet never forgets. That baby is going to grow up and search you online. Then you had denied them. Then you requested for a DNA test. Then they came out 99.9% your child.
Imagine how that's going to shift their perspective.
That is trauma for the children. Tuache mchezo, by the way.
That's just bad. And that's it. They say if you're not ready for children, just
don't have them.
Take until when you get measures. Ready.
Yeah, you see, it is also very weird. Like you have grown-up relations. This is a national television. You have grown-up relations. Then you do not expect a child. Like we all went through school. We also, what do you expect? A child is a result of that. So take up responsibility or remain celibate. I don't know. Do something.
Okay, all right.
Tufunga hii maneno.
All of us went through education.
Yes.
All right? And education is key. We all know about that. But there is this aspect of when you don't perform well in an examination, you become a laughingstock from your peers, from your parents, from the school, from the society generally. And you know, they say that life is dynamic. Today you are here, it's like a pendulum. Right now, the moment you're here, the next moment you're on this end. So it swings, all right? It's a pendulum. Now, we have this story of students who scored not so well 4 years ago during KCP examination. And according to CS Magoha, they went ahead, worked hard. Some of them scored straight A's.
Imagine
Some
that.
of them were street boys, okay? Some of them were orphans. Some of them lived in orphanages, all right? Some of them lived in some squalid kind of lifestyle. Let me just ask you, what do we have to read out of all this? That 4 years ago, you scored 250 marks or 220. 4 years later, you get a straight A. You're a medicine student.
You know, this is why I say we need to normalize celebrating other grades.
Yeah.
And especially us as the media. Tutapata tutaenda kutembelea the top student in the country. But what of those, the bigger majority, that patad C, D's or E's?
A.
Yeah.
What are we showing them as the media fraternity? What are we showing them? Just because we're celebrating the A's, the ones that got straight A's, what of them? And yet they all exist in the same space.
Yes.
So even if we fail once, we always say it's not the end of things. Like, bro, what's done is done. Work with what you have and do the best that you can.
Yeah.
Vic, you asked that what do you get from this? And I think for me it's just that whole notion of your past does not in any way describe or define your future. And the fact that never give up, be relentless as a person. Like there was that particular story of a boy, I can't remember the school, but he got 178 in KCP and he went ahead to get a B plane in KCSE. And again, just bringing down the whole aspect of we cannot all get A's because again also our lives are not shaped in the same way. The same way we cannot all get D's. We have to have those variety of grades because of where we are going, because of how our lives are shaped, because of what you're meant to achieve. Bottom line is that you cannot give up regardless of what you got. Because again also there are those who got 400 in KCPE and they went and got C pluses in KCSE. So it's just the same kind of thinking that, I mean, when you realize where you are going as a person, just focus on where you're going. What you get hapa katikati or what happens hapa katikati is really, it's part of the journey, yes, but in as much as it may be bad per se, it's sort of inconsequential given the fact of where you are going. And again, just what my boy said, celebrate your wins, even your losses. They are part of the journey.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For you as a person.
But let's...
This can be like a story for one gentleman called Moses Kabira. Moses Kabira got 295 marks in KCPE. And right now, he scored a straight A. Of how many points? 87 points.
Iko tu sawa, Victor, but let me be the devil's advocate on this studio. I have nothing against winning. I like being on top. And there's no shame in wanting to be ahead.
Yes.
True. Yes.
No shame.
But even as you quest to be at the top of the food chain, or the ladder for this matter, you need to remember to be humble. Because where you are at that point might not be where you will be tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's the point. There's no shame in wanting to be ahead, in wanting to be at the top. I'm of the school of thought that if you work, whether you're working hard or smart, get at the top, because being at the top gives you a better viewpoint in life. Let's be very honest about it. And it goes to say that even in the social strata right now, when you're talking about elite, middle class, upper middle class, and lower middle class, things are a little bit different when you're at top of the food chain. So we acknowledge that there are other grades that were scored. We acknowledge the effort that was made by the ones who led the pack. And if that majority, the ones who are the middle, are the ones who are usually forgotten, actually, and then there's a lower, it doesn't mean that today you fail, you'll always be a failure. It doesn't mean today you're a winner, you will always be a winner. The point is, keep putting your foot ahead of the other. Don't stop.
All right.
Have that thirst for success.
Don't stop.
Yeah.
And success is not rigid.
It's very flexible.
Very flexible. My success could be a very different version of Regina's, Victor's, or Doreen's. So, again, this is one thing that my father, that I really remember from that KCSE time. You work with what you have, okay? And this is a clear example from that particular case of that young boy. He worked with what he had and worked for what he got at the end of the 4 years. Aya, one quick story to Kifunga.
Yes.
Is that South Africa could soon be allowing their women to marry more than one husband.
Repeat.
They are looking
loudly, please. Take it again.
Yes, South Africa's parliament is looking to legalize polyandry on basis of equality, because the current Marriage Act is discriminatory. The floor is open.
What's discriminatory about it?
That it is only men who are allowed.
No.
So they want to make it, enshrine it in the law, that polyandry.
No.
Iko sawa.
Pepper down.
Wanapata bibi more than one?
I have a request. I know we are 4 on this set, but can I sit out on this one? Sitaki kuchoma. I have nothing to say on this one, but I'm just going to say brrrr.
And this came through the Department of Home Affairs.
Okay, what's happening in South Africa? Do they have more women than men?
They just want fairness.
It's on the basis of equality. That's
if a man
the foundation
can marry
of this particular proposal.
Okay. Let me start by asking this question. Where in the Bible did any woman have
No, Regina, you said you're sitting out on this one.
Regina,
He's out of order.
no.
Sitting out on this one.
He's out of order.
No,
we're not quoting the Bible.
No. Okay.
But that's the context. That's the context
That is
of
the
marriage.
Well, they're saying the law is ulisikia akisema the religious.
You guys,
the
we're
law.
almost out of time.
Victor,
Vicky,
no.
state your case.
Okay. Let me just submit my point.
Yes.
The thing here is, there is nowhere in the Bible where there was any woman who had 2 husbands. Okay? It can't happen. Just imagine this. So
we are not imagining. Doreen, your
okay,
time.
the law is discriminatory in terms of men are being allowed to marry more women, and women are not allowed to marry more men.
More than one husband.
Well,
the law is discriminatory, but then again, when you talk about marriage, you can never miss to have the aspect of the Bible. It just can't miss.
I mean,
that is the manual.
Ray, do you want to not plead the fifth?
Ray, let me tell
Sinyamazi anymore.
Very briefly, tutanyolewa hewani.
Acha tuamalizie basi.
Let me tell you something, Ray, before you step in.
Arsenal. Arsenal. Now,
there is nothing new under the sun. From the book of Genesis to Revelation.
Wait.
No, let me just put it this way. Whatever happened between that book, Genesis and Revelation, there is nothing new.
Okay, fine.
New.
Yeah, you've
Regina,
had it.
briefly.
I want to take you back to African culture, where a woman was allowed to marry another wife for the husband. Sawa? Ni hayo tu kwa sasa. Nimemaliza.
Okay. But it was under circumstances. No. It was under circumstances.
Regina,
Jane, we are done with this conversation. Remember, we are going to be televising the German Cup at 9:45 tonight, the finals.
Yeah.
So please, KBC Channel 1 is indeed your true sports partner. Tukutane hayo masaa.
KBC Channel 1
either Borussia Dortmund or RB Leipzig. I'm Regina Manyara. You're watching KBC Channel 1.
My name is Jane Wamboy. Have a lovely rest of your viewing.
And I'm Doreen Arange. Good morning.
My name is Victor Lowe. Have a blessed Eid ul-Fitr to our Muslim brothers and sisters. Have a good one.
French Open, the final Grand Slam of the year in Women's Tennis Association competitive season, an association of which mentored former Kenya professional tennis player Veronica Osogo, who is now mentoring others to follow suit.
It's worth it. It's worth it. I like it. It's an individual sport. Even if other teams collapse, like today, the major teams are collapsing. Tennis doesn't have that. I have my rackets. I'll do my own training. I can go for the tournaments anywhere I want for as long as I have the money, and nobody will stop me the way a team event, if things are not working, somehow all of you are messed and you have to go and look for another place to maybe join another team. I don't need to.
Veronica fell in love with the sport while in India at the Guru Nanak Dev